Madison police are investigating after two people are found dead inside a home on the east side. And pushing past hard times to keep a tradition alive. A community holds a beloved festival while still dealing with the heartache of this summer's historic flooding. A legacy of protecting others lives on, why one tiny town is honoring members of its fire department. Tonight at 10.
This is News 3 at 10.
Madison police are trying to figure out what led to two deaths on the city's east side. Officers were called out to a townhouse on Webb Avenue near 151 around noon today. Madeline O'Neill joins us with what police are sharing about their investigation. Maddie?
Amanda, since just after noon today, police have been looking into what happened on the 3100 block of Webb Avenue. We know two people are dead, but there are still plenty of questions. Seeing yellow tape in a neighborhood is never easy. Inside this townhouse on Webb Avenue is where Madison police found two people dead. That's after getting a report of a possible death at about 12:20 Saturday afternoon, according to an incident report. Officers say they met family members outside the home, then forced entry inside. There, they found a 34-year-old woman and a 39-year-old man with gunshot wounds. Police say they knew each other. The two were pronounced dead shortly after. Police also found a firearm at the scene. Because the two dead knew each other in a domestic context, officials don't believe there is any threat to the public. But the damage in this home is already done. This district's Alder Marsha Rummel says in a statement, "My heart goes out to the family and friends of the deceased, especially to the children involved." Police haven't been able to tell us much else, including whether or not children were involved, but they do tell us they'll release more information tomorrow. Amanda.
All right, thank you so much, Maddie. Madison police are also investigating a sexual assault. A 17-year-old girl called police last night saying she was assaulted in a parking lot near the Woodmans on South Gammon. The girl says she asked the suspects for a ride home and had recently met them at school. La Follette High School is bringing in extra security for tonight's homecoming dance. The principal says the students asked to be checked by metal detector wands. The move comes after a student was shot near the Madison High School earlier this week. 3 people have been arrested in connection to that shooting, including a La Follette student. A bus driver for the Middleton Cross Plains Area School District is on leave right now. A video surfaced showing the driver putting his hand on the back of a girl's head. A spokesperson for the district says the video was taken during Monday morning's commute. After school, the district had the driver take different students home. He was put on paid leave by Tuesday. The district and the Dane County Sheriff's Office are conducting separate investigations but cannot share any more information. FEMA is still touring parts of Wisconsin this weekend following this summer's historic flooding. Teams are looking at damage to homes, businesses, and roads to see if Wisconsin qualifies for federal disaster aid. Wisconsin officials estimate more than $108 million in damage to homes and another $75 million to public infrastructure. Historic flooding hasn't stopped Gaze Mills from celebrating its 60th annual Apple Festival. A month ago, several feet of floodwaters pushed into the downtown streets after a community cleanup effort. The town's Apple Festival was slightly modified, but they wanted to make sure it happened anyway. Organizers say the festival is an opportunity for things to get back to normal.
Hopefully, people can kind of get out and have a good time and relax for a little bit and know that, hey, life goes on. It could be worse, and we'll get through it.
There's still time to head out to Gaze Mills. The festival wraps up tomorrow. Well, the rain is here. How are things looking tomorrow, Dana? For any families, I know, hoping to go to an orchard or a pumpkin patch?
I think you should be able to in the afternoon. If you aren't afraid of just some light drizzle in the morning, we are expecting to continue to see some showers as we move into tomorrow, so do keep that in mind as you head into the day. Overall, we do have these light showers moving on overhead. Again, we had a few thunderstorms earlier on included with that.
We will get back to Dana in a minute with some of that forecast. Governor Walker is adding people to his campaign staff. The election is 5 weeks away, and polls show him trailing to his Democratic challenger, Tony Evers. The state Medicaid director is leaving her job to work on messaging for Walker, and he's also adding Republican Senator Ron Johnson's spokesman as a communications advisor. Meanwhile, Walker's opponent, the state school superintendent Tony Evers, spent today campaigning in La Crosse. The Wisconsin-based band Bon Iver plans to hold an early voting rally and fundraiser for Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin. The event will take place in Madison on October 20th. Bon Iver said in a statement the band is thrilled to support Senator Baldwin and early voting. Baldwin's opponent in the upcoming election, Republican Leah Vukmir, spent today campaigning at the Fall Fest in Burlington. Some Wisconsin residents are helping fight sex trafficking in India. They took part in a 5K to benefit the Aruna Project. The mission is to free sexually enslaved women in India. Each person ran for a specific enslaved woman by name. Organizers say this event gives people a chance to talk about an issue that is oftentimes hidden.
It's something that's uncomfortable for people to talk about. That's the great thing about having an event like a 5K, is that people can sign up for it. It's social. They can go out and do something with other people, and they can bring it up in conversation and say, this is why I'm running today.
All the money raised today will go towards freeing, empowering, and employing the enslaved women. Local researchers are looking into behaviors associated with the legal drinking age. A UW-Madison study found when the legal drinking age is 21, men are far more likely to drive drunk, get in fights, or take part in risky sexual practices. The similar negative impacts were not found among women. The researchers looked at figures from Ad Health, a long-term national study covering adolescent to adult health. They also found that young adults living at home typically participate in riskier behaviors more than those living away from their parents. Some local kids are better prepared for emergencies now. Today, UW-Madison police and other organizations talked about safety. Families were invited to explore squad cars, meet local police and fire officials, and learn about ways to stay safe while in their communities. A small village of just more than 800 people is celebrating its fire department this weekend. The Footville Fire Department has been a staple in the community for 100 years, since 1918. A special celebration was held today featuring demos and water fights. There was also a fire truck parade tonight. The night ended with a firehouse dance, and firefighters say this is an opportunity to give back to a community who continually supports them.
And that's what this is for, is to thank the people that fund us and the people that give us our funding to open the doors up and have the nice equipment that we have.
There was also a fire truck parade, and the night ended with a firehouse dance. A farm in Iowa County is also celebrating its 100th birthday, but despite 10 decades of service, the McCauley farm is still the new kid on the block. The farm is just outside Hollandale. And get this, the closest 5 farms are the real veterans of the area. Their neighbors have been farming in Iowa County for upwards of 150 years, making the McCauleys technically the youngest family on their road. Altogether, those 6 farms count 836 years of, quote, work and joy. From the old to the new, the Goodman Community Center's new community program space is now open. It's called the Brass Works Building, which will house the center's middle and high school programs. Goodman Center staff say the addition will help get more community members involved in their services. Now that the Brass Works Building is open, the center is raising money to configure its other building. A Wisconsin museum containing the world's largest collection of angels is closed. 87-year-old Joyce Berg launched the Angel Museum 20 years ago. She says a lack of funds and membership is causing the museum to close. It holds the record for the most angels at more than 13,000. 600 of them were even donated by Oprah Winfrey. Berg will keep some of the angels and sell off the rest. The unique Bucky on Parade statues are heading to new homes. Some of them were auctioned off tonight at the Kohl Center. The others are part of an online auction, along with other Badger State goodies. Proceeds go to Guarding Against Cancer, the Madison Area Sports Commission, and 10% will go to a charity of the buyer's choice. There's another way to get to Florida from Dane County. Sun Country Airlines started its nonstop service from Madison to Tampa today. The airline launched its Madison to Fort Myers service yesterday. These are the first Sun Country flights to originate in Madison. Next on News 3 at 10, the FBI is starting its investigation into Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, and agents are reaching out to another woman, accusing him of sexual misconduct. Investigators are trying to figure out why a man shot and killed 2 police officers in southern Mississippi. The officers were responding to calls of shots fired around 5 this morning. When they arrived, someone began shooting. The officers were pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. The suspect was also hurt during the shootout and is in police custody at the hospital. The full Senate vote to confirm Judge Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court has been delayed a week while the FBI investigates. Kavanaugh is accused of sexually assaulting a woman in high school. The allegation has divided the Senate Judiciary Committee and many across the nation. Kenneth Craig reports.
Hundreds of demonstrators and abuse survivors marched in Washington in protest of Judge Brett Kavanaugh's possible appointment to the United States Supreme Court.
I don't trust Brett Kavanaugh, but I trust Anita Hill. And I trust Dr. Blasey Ford.
The Senate Judiciary Committee voted along party lines to send Kavanaugh's nomination to the full Senate Friday, but there were fireworks leading up to the vote.
We ought to do what we can to make sure that we do all due diligence with a nomination this important.
Arizona Senator Jeff Flake called for a 1-week delay to allow the FBI to investigate claims made by Dr. Christine Blasey Ford that Kavanaugh sexually assaulted her when they were both teenagers. CBS News has learned that the FBI will also investigate a claim made by another woman, Deborah Ramirez. She says Kavanaugh exposed himself to her during a drinking game while they were freshmen at Yale University. President Trump says he welcomes the FBI investigation.
Actually, this could be a blessing in disguise because having the FBI go out, do a thorough investigation, whether it's 3 days or 7 days, I think it's going to be less than a week. It's an outrage.
Judge Kavanaugh denies any wrongdoing and says he will continue to cooperate.
Kenneth Craig for WISC News 3.
Senators Jeff Flake and Chris Coons will be interviewed by Scott Pelley on this week's edition of 60 Minutes. A teen is expected to survive following a shark attack near San Diego. The 13-year-old was rushed to surgery. He was diving for lobsters this morning when the shark bit him. Other lobster divers heard his screams for help and rescued him. Today was opening day of lobster season in the region. Sharks are also common near there, but lifeguards say most are not considered dangerous. Well, we don't have to worry about that over here.
No.
We're worried about rain. Different worries.
Very separate situation. Oh, actually, one of my favorite questions I get a lot of times on school visits is Sharknado is possible?
Oh my goodness.
And other animals that could possibly in tornado. First off, it's not possible. And the good
not
news,
in our forecast.
No, not in the forecast at all for us. We are talking about rain, though. No real severe potential for us. Looking at the last 3 hours, we have had some rain move over central and southern Wisconsin. Some heavier showers earlier, but right now it's just light drizzle for us in Madison. Looking throughout the area, we're not picking up any lightning, so we're not talking about any thunderstorms really for the night, but we are going to have some light showers over the next several hours. So here's your warning: if you left the car windows down, go roll them up. I don't know why you would have had them down today. It was a little chilly outside. We're currently sitting close to about 45 in Madison, 46 in Janesville. Because of the cloudy sky overhead, we're just not going to cool down too much overnight. And again, we didn't warm up much today either because it was so cloudy. And the last 24 hours, our temps really haven't moved around much compared to where we were at this time yesterday. The only difference, of course, last night we dropped significantly, waking up this morning to temperatures in the low 30s. We won't cool down as much this evening, as I just mentioned, because of the cloud deck overhead. Shower chances for us overnight. May hear some heavier rainfall at times, but we're not looking at the threat for any severe or strong thunderstorms. Heading into tomorrow morning, we will see some lighter showers, and then in the afternoon, just some clouds in the sky. The rain threat surges back in for us overnight, though, heading into Monday. And then Monday, we do have the chance to see some heavier, stronger storms come through. No severe potential again for us, just may see some heavier rainfall moments for Monday afternoon and into the evening. Throughout the next 24 hours, our precip potential barely 1/10 of an inch for the maximum amount for us, really just talking about trace amounts picking up into Sunday. It felt like fall outside today, the end of fall almost. We're seeing a few leaves starting to change for us in Madison, but notice we're nowhere near peak color just yet. Up north, getting a little closer, about that 50% mark as far as the number of leaves that have changed, but we've got still about a few more weeks for us in Madison, looking more mid to end of October before we hit our peak coloring. So central and southern Wisconsin, just a little longer. We can enjoy the fall-like cooler temperatures before we get to see all the fall color. Right now downtown, we do have those light showers moving on through. Temperatures today only getting into the low 50s, barely crossing into 51. Overnight lows in the low 30s for us. So close to freezing, but not quite there. We did have some frost for us this morning. We will not be dropping down into the 30s for a few more nights for us. Tonight, only getting into the mid 40s, very close to where we're at right now. Again, mostly cloudy with some shower chances. Tomorrow, climbing into the upper 50s for us. Still below average, though. Seasonal weather would be more mid 60s, so it's still just a little cool. But look, we get mild and a little more seasonal for Monday and Tuesday. Our rain chance that returns late Sunday holds on for our Monday forecast in the upper 60s for our Monday highs. And then we are going to warm up as we head towards Wednesday, the warmest day of our 10-day period by far, and then we cool back down heading into next weekend. But it's on again, off again showers for the next several days. Our storm potential, though, it's really just for Monday. And again, severe potential stays pretty low for us thanks to the cooler air.
All right, thank you so much, Dana. Another banner night for Christian Yelich. Highlights from an exciting night at Miller Park. Coming up next in sports.
News 3.
Well, it's all going to come down to one game for both the Brewers and the Cubs in the battle for the division title because, well, this happened less than an hour ago. Brewers were down 3-0 to the Tigers until the third inning because Christian Yelich was at the plate, getting the Brewers started with this 2-run home run. Brewers down 3-2. Fast forward to the 4th inning tie game. Now Eric Kratz gets one through the gap in left field. There, Mike Moustakas and Jonathan Scope come home. Brewers take the 5-3 lead. Tigers score 2 more to tie it up. But when you're in trouble, who are you going to call? Not the Ghostbusters, by the way. You call Christian Yelich, because solo homer here. Brewers take the 6-5 lead. Bullpen going to work too. Corey Knebel, 3 Ks here in the 8th. And then Jeremy Jeffress coming in to close it out, 3 Ks in the 9th. Brewers win 6-5, final game of the regular season and the deciding game for the NL Central tomorrow at 2:10. And earlier today at Wrigley, the Cubs losing to Cardinals 2-1. So the two teams currently tied for the top spot in the NL Central. Cubs and Cardinals play tomorrow at 2:20. So here is the deal for tomorrow now. If the Brewers win and the Cubs lose, the Brewers will win the division for the first time since 2011. If the Cubs win and the Brewers lose, the Cubs win the division. Now, if both teams win or both teams lose, they'll play each other in a tiebreaker on Monday at Wrigley Field. So quite a bit at stake tomorrow. Again, Brewers play at 2:10, Cubs play at 2:20. No football today for the Badgers. They have a bye week, but the women's hockey team in action, starting their season off 1-0, going for the series sweep this afternoon. The Badgers ranked 2nd nationally. They're hosting Lindenwood at LeBon Arena today. Off to a very quick start. 17 seconds into the first period, Abby Rock passing to Sam Cogan. She will light the lamp. 1-0 Badgers on the board first. Second period now, Grace Bolby will pass to Presley Norby. They're right in front of the goal. She hits the back of the net, and it's 4-0 Wisconsin. Badgers not done yet. Alexis Maurerman will get the goal in the 3rd period. It would be her first of the season. The Badgers shut out Lindenwood 6-0. Wisconsin has now won 31 games in a row at LeBon Arena. Again, the Badgers off this weekend. Unfortunately for Wisconsin, that BYU loss not looking too great right now, because BYU is down 35-0 at 11th ranked Washington. They're in the 4th quarter. Meanwhile, Nebraska coming to Camp Randall in a week, today the Huskers hosting Purdue. Boilermakers giving them everything they've got and more. Second of action here, David Blau to Bryson Hopkins for the 12-yard touchdown. Purdue up 27-7. But Nebraska not going down without a fight. Late 3rd quarter action here. Adrian Martinez finding J.D. Spielman in the end zone for the 21-yard score. Purdue wins big over Nebraska 42-28. Scott Frost now 0-4 in his inaugural campaign as head coach there. Well, Michigan State beating Central Michigan at home. Sparty is 2-0 in the Big Ten. And Indiana getting its first conference win over Rutgers. Meanwhile, Michigan surviving a scare against Northwestern at Ryan Field, and arguably one of the biggest matchups in the country this weekend. Right now, Ohio State just took the lead in the 2 minutes left in the game, 27-26 over Penn State. Well, the Bills-Packers tomorrow. By the way, you can watch that game right here on WISC-TV News 3. So Clay Matthews, he's been a favorite of referees so far this season. He had quite a bit to say on the matter after practice earlier this week, saying that the league has to protect star players, specifically quarterbacks, rather, because that is the business. But he said the way he's been sacking quarterbacks is really the way you should play football. So he says that these roughing the passer, or roughing the quarterback, passer penalties rather, are kind of taking it away from the game for him. But again, baseball's no offense to football right now, baseball's kind of on the minds of everyone right now. It's going to be a big afternoon tomorrow for the Brewers.
And that was a lot for you to explain. If they win, if they lose.
Yeah,
so
it's kind of a lot. Yeah, it's kind of a lot, but we'll see tomorrow.
All right, we will be right back. With the cooler weather finally here, it's time to fully embrace fall, and that's exactly what hundreds of people did today in Dane County. The Wisconsin Brewing Company hosted a pumpkin chuck today. Kids got the chance to launch pumpkins into a pond while their parents sipped on special beers and listened to live music. Kirby Nelson, a brewmaster at the brewery, says today is all about family fun.
And if you look around out here today, what do you see? Is loads of people, families, gathering together. They're having a great time with their friends, their relatives, and people they don't know. And just watching something as silly as pumpkins fly through the air and listening to great music and saying, yeah, it's great to be alive.
This was the second year for this event. It is great to be alive. That was a good quote he had. A lot of people are doing their fall things, the pumpkin carving and all that.
Yeah, it's very fall. Like, I like the guy that was cheering on the pumpkin. Like, you can do it, you can do it in the middle. All right, cheer on your pumpkins tomorrow if you need to. We got showers in the morning, later on in the evening as well. A break with clouds in the sky during the afternoon. Overnight lows will not fall back into the 30s for us for quite some time, which is good news. It was chilly this morning. Showers lingering into Monday, a little more seasonal for Monday and Tuesday. On and off rain for most of the week.
All right, keep your umbrellas handy. Thanks for being here with us. Have a good night.
Go Brewers!
Download the new Channel 3000 app and get alerted on your mobile device the minute news breaks. Wherever you go, be the first to know with Channel 3000.